Morning, Coach.
Morning.
Good Monday. This week, NIU comes to town, put a bow on Buffalo, and get us set for the car show this week as the Huskies travel.
Yeah, a very, very disappointing finish on Saturday. A disappointing, disappointed, frustrated locker room. Very, very different from the week before, because we came out and played. Wanted to start fast, which we haven't done, and both sides of the ball in the first couple possessions, were really good, and then less than what we had expected. Kind of went 1 for 2 with the start, but played our style of football, and played with energy and intensity, and far from perfect, but played well, and so. It stings in a completely different way when you play better, you play good enough to win, but obviously didn't happen at the end. So really frustrating, but again, I've said from the very beginning, we're going to be playing our best ball at the end of the year, and it's trending that way. Even ask the guys, do you feel as though we're better, now than we were? And it's unanimous, right, that we're getting better. So another tall task. It's going to be good to be back home. It seems like it's been a while, playing Northern Illinois maybe for the last time in a long time. Their offensive line coach coached here with us for a couple of years. He's a good friend and a great coach. So it's going to be a great matchup. It's going to be another great MAC football game. And the team that prepares the hardest and the best throughout the week and then shows up and plays super hard and smart, we'll have the best chance to win. So we're at work studying them right now.
Andrew, you want to start us off?
Yeah, why not? I kind of stick with the frustration theme there of, I would imagine Saturday was a particularly stinging loss. And how do you toe that balance of kind of capturing that frustration and kind of using it as fuel or whatever versus not like kind of spinning into just like bad headspace and just like guys being overly negative? Like, it seems like there's a balance to be struck there between fueling you and, like you said, like turning that corner.
Yeah, we actually had a couple of interesting conversations. I don't know, if that's the role of a parent or the role, of youth sports. I remember I told some of the guys this when I was a little kid. I cried after we lost a soccer game, and my mom grabbed me and said, and so I don't know if it was because I was crying because we lost, or I didn't play well, or there wasn't enough orange slices afterwards. I don't remember, but are you supposed to break your hand punching the wall? How do you show frustration appropriately, not lose it, and stow it away to some degree for the next week? Again, it was a different kind of frustration. It wasn't because we, didn't come to play, which is really kind of the sentiment from, the Central Michigan week. This was, we had the game won, and we played, pretty darn well for most of the game, and then didn't finish it. Yeah, the goal on Saturday the object of the game is to have more points than the other team, right? And that's how you're judged, and the result for almost everybody, that's all that matters. Our goal will continue to be to play our absolute best. And I think that winning is a byproduct of that. Again, I think that we're going to continue to get better and better and better. So I hurt for our program and for our guys to not be able to, you know what I mean? Celebrate in the locker room and still have plenty to fix and not everything's okay, you know what I mean, just because you win. But, you know, it's a less quiet bus ride, you know, for 5.5 hours when you get the victory. But again, like just we talked about, and this answers your question a little bit too, just as a team, regardless of what happened the week before, regardless, and it can be difficult both ways, right? You know, if you're 6-0 and you're starting feeling that you're good and all that stuff, then there's problems that you have to deal with that way too, right? I mean, you gotta be able every week, no matter what happened, to learn from it and to flush it. And I'm not saying that that's easy to do, but the great programs can do that. And start preparing, you know, and not let it rattle you when it doesn't end up going your way, and to not think that you're better than you are, you know, when it does. It's difficult to do. And in our league, it's every single week. It's every single week, you know. And I coached, you know, at other places and whatnot, and 10-0 was a great year, and 9-1 was a good year, and 8-2, you know, was like, we're disappointed. That's not what it's like in this conference.
And then on that final drive in regulation defensively, when you watch that back, is there, I mean, I'm sure there's, you know, make a play here, make a play there, and things go differently. Is there anything where you look at that and go, we want to play these differently going forward, or was it kind of matchup specific and just like they made good plays? I guess kind of your looking back on that final drive defensively, what maybe could have gone different? So
there are three sort of philosophical coaching strategies that happened towards the end. And, you know, hindsight, if you want to say it that way, hindsight's 20/20, but I don't do it that way. It's either a good decision or a bad decision, regardless of the results. You have to go back into that moment of time. And I've done it that way all the way through, when things have gone our way and when they haven't. But and so I'm ultimately responsible for all three of these, and we went 0 for 3. You know, so there's more than this, but just to give you the three. The first one, we had the ball with 5 minutes and 38 seconds left. So if we maintain possession and run out the clock, we win. Well, we got a couple first downs. We ended up in a 3rd and 6 or 7. And even at the beginning of that drive, I did not say, you know, throw it if you need to, you know, let's get this first down. You know, we were moving the ball and getting first downs, running the ball. We get to that 3rd and 6 and 3rd and 7, and throwing it doesn't mean you're going to get the first down. But running it, you know, is going to be tough sledding. They'll be out of timeouts. There'll be less than a minute left. And we're in a position where we could, you know, pooch punt, which we did all those things, right? However, we didn't get the first down. And if we'd gotten the first down, the game's over. So it's just a philosophical decision. We went with what I think is the wise, but also safer, you know, decision. You know, the second would be then, you know, what do we do? How do we play it when they're on the -9 with no timeouts and 58 seconds? They got to 3rd and 10. but then we're playing softer coverage and only rushing 3, and they have time and, hit the dig or the over route, get the first down, and then are able to move the ball, get another third down conversion, and hit a 50-yard field goal, right? So probably not wise to be in a bear front and play cover 0, because you don't want to give up a 91-yard, right? But again, so just, again, philosophically, keep them in front of us, keep them in bounds. Tough to go that far in 58 seconds with no timeouts. But they did. So, again, it didn't work out. And then we decided on Thursday, and you're always going to take the game, into consideration. But I have a coordinator meeting, and we talk through with our heads clear and whatnot. We got an opportunity to win the game going for 2. Should we? And the answer on Thursday was yes. I still, depending on how the game's going and all of those kind of things, it's not that we're bound to that, but want to think through it then. And so decided to go for 2 and end the game right there. And, we didn't get it, right? So 3, you go back, just kind of philosophical ways to, finish the game. None of the 3 worked out, and so again, ultimately, that falls on me, and it's why in the end we didn't win the game.
And I guess to finish up for me, I'll kind of tie the first 2 together. It's kind of one of those things where it sounds like you made those 3 sort of choices of how to play that end game, and if literally probably one of them goes differently, you're out of there with a win. That probably adds the frustration a little bit, but also, you guys are very close to, like you said, turning that corner, playing your best ball in the coming weeks into the end of the season, seeing it through that sort of positive light of, we felt like we had good process, and it just literally didn't go our way, as frustrating as it is. If we just make 1 or 2 more plays in there, one of these things goes right, we're out of there with a win, and we're, our process is working. Is that kind of trying to shift it into that, forward-looking, we're close kind of sense?
Yeah, no, it's it starts with me, and then it starts with each person. We can talk about a 24-hour rule, and that's, meaningless unless you actually, can learn, flush, and then move forward. And I always have these on Monday, which is after 24 hours. And so I tell the guys during camp, when we're talking about the 24-hour rule, I'm going to have to bring back up the previous game because I've got a press conference on Monday. But yeah, we are moving forward to Northern Illinois. I was and whatever, sick that our guys didn't get to experience, a victory, because I think that, they prepared and played in such a way that they should have. I really still believe that everything is still ahead of us. I actually really believe that. In our league, I believe that there's going to be a 6-2 team in the MAC championship. Maybe 2 6-2 teams. I don't know. And that's not, factual analytics and whatnot, but our league is, a bloodbath. And if we were 6-0 right now, we'd be in trouble. Because we'd be feeling is that we're better than we are. So it's either way, I'm saying learn and flush it, and let's prepare to go play great and beat Northern Illinois.
Totally. Well, hopefully Rick and Doug have some questions about the opponent ahead for you, so you don't have to keep looking back.
Yeah, it's all right. No, they're good questions.
Rob?
Yeah, hey, Coach, I don't want to belabor this point, but in your last drive, you were running the football well, and you were eating up the clock. And I thought when you got to the point where you were going to have those 3 downs and you got one more first down, it's game, set, match. Was there any thought, because my thought process is, if we're going to end up possibly throwing to win the game, is there any thought about throwing on second down, some type of safe move within on second down, not waiting for third?
Right.
So no, you only throw if it's you and him. You know, if he's 3 yards in the open type.
You cut out a little bit, but I think what you were saying is don't wait for third down, but
Yes.
was there any thought on first or second down to nice, easy, safe pass? Yeah. So, you know, that is what I didn't say that, you know, to Coach Pike, our offensive coordinator. I didn't say, hey, throw the ball, do whatever you need to do, you know, in these 3 downs to get a first down. So I didn't end up telling him to do that.
On the extra point, which I was 100% going for, I mean, you're on the road, get the win right now, don't go to overtime. Was that play? I didn't see the film. I didn't ever see the replay. Was it there? Did it slip out of his hand on the shovel pass? Was it hit? I didn't ever saw what happened.
Yeah, it slipped out.
Was it going to be there or not?
We would have gotten the shovel off
Okay.
and to Josh Long, and then there would have been a collision, you know, somewhere around, you know, the 1 or 2 yard line with a backer coming outside in, and it would have been that backer and our 250-pound, you know, 6'4" tight end to get on or into. So it was not like parting of the Red Seas or anything like that. But yeah, we would have had a shot.
You talked earlier how you're getting better every week, and I agree 100%. And I said this last week. Does a lot of that due to you have so many people playing for the first time and their maturation, their knowledge, their physical, everything is getting growing with this team each week. So by the end of the year, I heard you say you're probably going to play your best ball. I 100% see that because every week you're getting better.
Yeah, it's a good question. So I'll tell you, I think there's 2 reasons. And hadn't anticipated, you know, the second, other than every football coach in, you know, the history of football knows that this happens. So, but the first one is, you know, everybody's got new players and so new combinations, and you've got guys that you've been in the program, but it's their first time playing. So there's that. And so you're going to get better because of the experience and playing together, you know, to some degree naturally, but you also want to be intentional in that development. And then we've had just a ton of different combinations at a lot of different position groups throughout the season for, you know, a variety of reasons, mainly guys getting banged up, right? And that's, again, every football team, you know, in America. So I think it's been exacerbated, you know, it's both of those things. But being, you know, halfway done with the regular season, you know, there's guys who have some games under their belt. And yeah, we're getting better.
Looking ahead quickly to Northern, as you said, it could be the last time in many years that the Eagles get to play the Huskies. Coming in here, what do you see with this team? I mean, they've always been a very physical, run-based offense, which here we go again.
Yep.
Is this what they are again this year? Because I really haven't done any prep work on it yet.
They are, yeah. They're certainly committed to running the football, and they've always done that well. The opening play last week, their homecoming game, hosting Miami, was a 75-yard run. I believe it was to their freshman running back. Went 75 out of the gate on the very first play. So yeah, that's they can throw it, and they do. They've used 2 different quarterbacks. I think it's probably almost 6 weeks in a row now. Again, that you know, getting ready for you know, multiple quarterbacks. But yeah, they're committed to running the ball. no
All
doubt.
right, thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Coach, in all your playing days and coaching days, do you ever remember a game where an offense had 3 touchdown scoring drives of 94 plus yards? You guys had tremendous drives in that game, including a 19-play one. What was the catalyst for the success on those 3 drives in which you were backed up in your own end zone and marched it right down the field?
Yeah, just it seems to be a theme, and it's when we get off to a good start, when we get the first down, when we get 4+ yards on first down, then we get moving. So with those drives, I mean, one of our first plays was this quarterback sneak. We were literally on the 1 yard line, right? So we're not getting 4 on that.
Right.
But we got that first down in all of those situations, right? And so, I think that we get into a rhythm, when we get that first down, and that first drive, pretty methodical, until we got, to the post to Devereaux for whatever, 45, 50 yards.
Yeah,
but
45 yards.
yeah, so good rhythm, doing a good job of mixing up the run and pass, and taking care of the ball.
It's got to be nice when you go in the film room with the offense and say, listen, this is the difference between success and failure. Look what we did in these first 3 snaps, and look what we did with that drive. It probably makes it a lot easier to make the offense feel they're right there with where they need to be.
Are you talking about the start of the game?
Not even at the start of the game, just when you put those type of drives together, like, listen, here's what a successful drive
Sure,
looks like.
yeah.
Here's a 3 and out. Like, that's where we are. That's all we got to do is win that first 10-yard battle, and we're off to the races.
Yeah, our red zone stuff has not been perfect. It doesn't mean every time that we're gonna, score a touchdown and go for
Right.
2 and get it and all that. But that's when we start, with some success, we usually do well.
Jason Marshall, this felt like a coming out party for him, and not that you want a defensive back leading your team in tackles, but he was all over the place, and in one series had 3 straight tackles. Is he elevated his game? Is he taken the next step in his maturation?
Jason's a great story, and at some point we're going to get to tell it, but Dad played here, was part of the '87 championship, walked on. We didn't know whether to be receiver or as a defensive back, and decided defensive back, and he has gone like this. And a little over a year ago in camp, he sustained an injury which prevented him from playing all last year, and we really believe that, last year was going to be that coming out party, I think you just said.
Yeah.
And so that got delayed, but and he's been rehabbing all year, but we knew, what a, sensational athlete and person he was and is. And so, yeah, it's been fun to see. It's been his first defensive game action to what we were talking about earlier, but he's getting better and better.
All right, thank you.
Coach, you've spoken about Dante McMillan's toughness in the past. You could see on the broadcast in the first half he was limping a little bit, getting back to the huddle on a couple plays. Can you speak about what issues he was dealing with and his grit to put up 150 all-purpose yards and 2 touchdowns despite that?
Yeah, no, I think, I don't know if it was banged up or just swag or whatever the word is now. But yeah, he's, when you look into his eyes, it's real similar to looking into Carter Evans' eyes. They just are older guys, maturity, and are just understanding and embracing the moment and like laying it all out there, with conviction and passion and confidence. It is so much fun coaching that guy. He just, I don't know, man, there's just this awesome, innocence, man. He just is wide-eyed, coach me, let's do this, I believe, and just, he's awesome.
And then looking ahead to Northern Illinois, he spoke about the two-pronged rushing attack with Telly Johnson Jr. and Javon Wright. But they also have one standout receiver, Deary Rogers, 264 yards receiving. No one else on the team is more than 50 yards. When it comes to a situation like this, do you key in on him and double cover him and take him away, or do you just kind of play your game naturally on defense?
Yeah, so that's being decided right now. That's a great question, you know, because there's always give and take. You know, how much time, when, how, you know, are you going to spend, you know, time and human resources, you know, on one aspect of the game or on one player. So, you know, if you sat in on the defensive meetings, you'll be talking about those kind of, you know, issues all day today. But he's definitely, and obviously he's proven it with his production. I mean, he's demands that conversation. So you guys haven't asked about their defense, which is pretty darn good. So I'll just throw that out there. They play really good defense, and you know, I think philosophically with the ability to run the football but keep you honest throwing it and having production there, you know, with a really good defense, you know, it's a formula for success.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Best defense you faced so far in the MAC, maybe? Or-
We'll see. You wait till after, you know, afterwards, you know, is like the best time to ask that, but it very well could be. You said in the MAC or overall?
Well, MAC, I mean, you've only played a couple opponents, but I mean, but if you want to go overall through the first 6 games, this could be one of the tougher defenses.
Yeah, I think probably you got to, you know, play the game, but they're good.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Coach, it's car show weekend. What's the first, honestly, what's the first car that you ever had? And what's your favorite car?
So just because we're in Southeast Michigan and it's the car show, which I'm super excited about, doesn't mean that I've got a sexy car story. Now, if you wanted to ask me about my skateboard or the bike that I used all the way through high school, then I could probably give you a better story. But yeah, after I graduated from college, I had a used 87 blue Honda Civic, which I was super excited about. Yeah, so there's my first car. Thanks for asking. But it is the 4th annual car show, and man, we've got a great relationship with folks that have been coming down for 4 years, and we've got a bunch of new people coming, and so yeah, it's going to be a great atmosphere.
All right, thanks.
Thanks for your time this morning.
Carter. Go get him. Thanks, Scott. See you. I'd ask him about his first time.
Oh, we're going to.
Still got it right now.
Andrew, like to kick us off?
Yeah. So kind of a question I asked for Coach, and he kind of got this of like the way the game ended for you guys is you kind of made like these like 3 sort of philosophical choices about how to like handle the end game. Basically, like if one of them went right, you guys probably would have won. I'm kind of curious of like balancing the frustration between. Obviously, that was a tough loss. You guys were close against Central, but couldn't get over the like turn the corner. Like balancing that versus like you guys played well. You played kind of the style you want to play. You execute a lot of things well. Like being close and feeling like you could turn the corner. It seems like that's the vibe and like the frustrations for fueling good things. I'm just kind of curious of like the feeling in the locker room about being close, the frustration, turning the corner, that kind of mix of emotions.
No, it's definitely frustrating. And like you said, we were close, and obviously we felt like we were the better team on that day, and the results didn't show that. So that's even more frustrating. But at the end of the day, I believe that each and every person in this locker room and on our team believes that we're getting better and that we're going the right direction. So that's a big thing.
And then for the like the getting better every week, I think it's kind of hard to see if people just look at the record, but I think people who have watching have seen it. How much does like winning a game, winning maybe 2 in a row, like kind of starting to string some better results together help like show that? Like I think you guys know it, but really like kind of that outward like, yeah, we are a better football team than maybe like the record shows so far.
Yeah, I mean, obviously wins is what we're shooting for every single week, and we gotta start putting it together for all 4 quarters on all 3 phases: special teams, defense, offense. We just gotta be able to continue to get better in all 3 phases and be able to close games out like that. So obviously that's the focus, and just keep getting better in all 3 phases to get that done.
Gotcha. That's all I got. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and Carter, I'm just kind of curious. Your defensive front seems to be improving in leaps and bounds. Early in the year, they really couldn't stop the run very well. The defensive tackles have really been solidified. Now it seems like the defensive ends as well are starting to close things down. What's changed? Is it just a maturity thing, or is it a scheme thing?
Well, I would say, I mean, we did make some changes to the scheme, but like Coach Matt, we do have a lot of younger guys playing too that are just getting more experience by every game. But I don't think it's ever been an issue of talent. We have the talent and the whole defense, and I also don't think it was necessarily an issue of the D-line in general in the first couple weeks. I think it's one of those things where it's all 3 levels, like D-line, linebackers, safeties, corners. Like it's a collective effort, stopping the run, and we got to be able to tackle at all 3 levels. We got to be able to fit the run at all 3 levels. So just improving at all 3 levels, I think, is the biggest thing. Obviously, the guys that are younger guys that are getting experience, I think that's something that that's how they're going to get better every single week, that they're getting more and more experience. So I think that's a big thing.
Now, for you, last year with injury, correct? You missed a lot of the season.
No, last year I played.
Was that 2 years ago? 2 years ago? Was it?
So 2 years ago I didn't play at all,
Right.
and that last year I was coming off an injury, wasn't necessarily feeling at my best, but I played.
So, are you super, even though we keep hearing a little frustrated, this, that, I played a long time, but are you enjoying this process right now, being able to play and contribute like you did, especially this week?
It's absolutely a blessing. All glory to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, because I'm like going through like even 2022. I was playing a lot early in the season, and then I got injured, and then like that was frustrating, and then I came back towards the end of the year and didn't really feel like I was playing at able to play at my best, because I was still had some lingering injuries that year, and then coming off that 2023, get injured right before camp, and then missed that entire season, and then last year coming back and playing but not feeling at my best. I was playing, they told me to come back at a lighter weight. I was probably playing like 235 opposed to around 260 right now. So like I just didn't feel as powerful, as explosive, and I just didn't feel like the same player. So right now it's truly a blessing just to be out there every single day. Like I don't take that for granted a single day. So that's, like, I appreciate that question, but yeah, that like it's a blessing every single day just to even be out there.
Well, we appreciate your effort, and we can see your performance every week. You're getting more confident again and more comfortable, and you're starting to really, really be a factor, so we appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
Carter, I think a lot of people, have asked questions today about gauging the frustration of the team with the 1-5 start. And my more question is, are you worried about guys checking out after this slow start and maybe throwing in the towel as you head into the last 6 games?
No, I'm not worried about that at all. And I think we all understand that it's going to require more from each and every person on this team. Whether you're a starter, whether you're on scout team, it's going to require more. Like we're not throwing in the towel. If anything, we're hitting the gas and we're going harder. We're going to do everything we can to like close out these games and win the games that we need to win. Like, especially when we play like we did last week. Like those are games we got to win. And it's the little things. It's the on and off the field, like showing up to like meetings on time, showing up to lifts on time, like all the little things that add up, like the discipline things that can show up on the field. Like that's something that we just got to continue to harp on and just continue to get better, because no, I don't see anybody throwing in the towel, and that's not going to be accepted around here. So,
Carter, how often do you talk to your brother about what's going on with the program? Obviously, he knows Eastern Michigan well. He played here. You play here. How often do you have conversations with him about what's going on over the course of the season? What kind of advice has he given you?
I mean, I talk to him multiple times every week. I mean, I wouldn't say like, in terms of advice, he's really just said like, just keep going, just keep working. And like, obviously, he sees like our program, we're getting better. And like, I don't think if you know Samson, he's not the most like outgoing guy,
Right.
most like giving advice kind of guy. So, but no, he's definitely there for me whenever at low times and at the good times. So he's always supportive of me and this program. So,
When you guys were kids, was he pretty easy to bring down in the backyard, or even then, was he running the ball pretty well?
No, he didn't take it easy on me when I was a kid. So I have two older brothers that played Division I football, and obviously I was a lot younger than them, and so I got beat up on a little bit. So I feel like that made me tougher. But no, he was not easy to bring down when I was a kid, and he definitely didn't take it easy on me then. So.
I know Coach has a 24-hour rule, but it changes here with the press conference. Can you talk us through that last drive that Buffalo had and what was happening out in the field with you guys? You had them in a 3rd and 10, but they were still able to get the ball in field goal range. Can you kind of walk us what was going through on that final defensive drive?
Yeah, so I mean, we were in our Lambeau front where it's 3 down and we have 8 in coverage, and obviously I think we did a good job of applying a little pressure in the first 2 snaps on 1st and 2nd down, and forced some throws, and then we had good coverage in those plays. And then we didn't get enough pressure on that 3rd down, and they were able to hit a 20, 30-yard pass. And shoot, I take responsibility for that. I got to be able to impact on those plays too. It's got to be every play thing. And
what did you feel you didn't do on that play? When you say impact, what did you not get done there?
I would say like, obviously we have 3 D linemen going against 5 O linemen.
Right.
But just continue to work and just like maybe, I mean, obviously I don't think I had like the wrong like mindset or anything like that.
No, I'm not saying that.
It was
I'm
more.
saying,
It was
yeah.
more of like after seeing like there's just little things that you could do that you feel like you always feel like you can make a bigger impact, and I feel like that's just me dissecting the game, just like trying to find any single inch or thing that I could do to help us get off the field at that point. And I feel like there's little things that I could do, and I feel like I would say a lot of people on the defense probably feel the same way. So, so just gotta continue to get better, everybody.
All right, thank you, Carter.
Carter, last week your defensive line mate Tyrone Martin spoke about being more vocal leader, kind of inspired the defense after a rough start to the season. Is that a philosophy that you subscribe to as well, or do you prefer to let your play do the talking?
No, there definitely needs to be leadership, like vocal, and I do feel like as a D line, we've been better with that, and I feel like we've been vocal leaders from the beginning. But I feel like there's levels to it, and I feel like just continue to bring people along, and it's not just on the practice field, it's off the field too, like making sure people are where they need to be, and like watching the film, and just fully bought in every single way. So, and in terms of practice, like we set the tempo, like the older guys, like we got to be the ones that are flying to the football, playing physical and violent, and just doing what we need to do on the field. And obviously, to answer your question, it's a mix between showing by like being a leader by example, but also being vocal.
Heading into the final 6 games of the season, what are your expectations for yourself and for the team down the stretch?
Like we've been saying, just keep climbing, keep getting better. Obviously, I feel like it's evident that we are getting better, but it's just we can't be like we can't have anybody being checked out. We got to continue to climb and continue to believe. And I feel like believe is the biggest thing. It's just like each and every person's got to believe. Like no matter where we're at right now, like there's still more. We're only halfway through the season, and like I said, I know we're getting better, and we got to continue on that rise. We can't get discouraged because like this is Like, I'm confident that if we play our best football, we can beat any team that's ahead of our schedule. Like that we're gonna play the rest of the season. So we just gotta continue to get better and continue to believe that. So.
Thank you.
Sir.
All right, so what was your first car?
It's the same one I got right now. It's a 2019 Chevy Colorado. Yes, sir.
So, I don't know if you're a car guy or not, but if there's a classic car out there, you could pick one. You'd be driving around in right now, what would your classic car of choice be?
I'm really not like a big car guy, but really like any type of like truck, honestly, is what I like. Like maybe like a Ford Raptor or something like that would probably be, you know, be a nice car to drive or something like that. So yeah, I'm more of like a truck guy, not really too big on cars, but just in general. But
All right.